How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to On The Ball and welcome back to another episode of Review the Prem, where me and my brother go head to head in predicting Premier League outcomes. Scores on the doors are 134 each. Sim has clawed back the gap and it is now level pegging. It's 5 points for a completely correct scoreline, 1 point for correct result. And the star man, once you pick that man, you can't pick them again for the rest of the season. It's 5 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist. And let's get into the weekend's action, starting off at Villa Park. It was Aston Villa 1, Southampton 0. Both of us went for 3-1 to Villa. And I think it was a pretty assured display for Aston Villa. Southampton rarely troubled them throughout the 90 minutes. Maybe it could have been a bit more than 1-0, but I thought it was very much a deserved victory for Aston Villa, and we get a point each.
Yeah, Southampton, at the moment, it seems like the batterings have subsided for the time being. Now they're just getting narrow losses, but obviously having a few players back, which they didn't have in midweek, and Tyler Dibbling and Howard Bellis, that probably helped, but they couldn't really impact the game in terms of getting chances against this Villa team. And again, the goal came from a bad mistake at the back. John Duran nips in, tackling Howard Bellis, goes through, finishes. They got that goal. Southampton couldn't really answer, unfortunately. 2 wins in a week, much needed for Villa. And it's mad, they were bottom half and 2 wins up to 6th. So that shows how tight the table is.
Yeah, Watkins did get a rest for this game as well. John Duran starts, John Duran scores, and Villa had a 2.29 XG to Southampton's 0.33, which did really tell the story of the game, to be honest. Not one shot on target for Southampton, 4 shots in total, but none of them really troubling signs for Aston Villa. So yeah, comprehensive, as comprehensive as 1-0 can be.
8 points now. Southampton are behind Palace in 17th, so they're really losing any sign of getting there.
Like I said to you a few weeks ago, I kind of liken Southampton to Luton. They can play pretty football at times, but they just can't get enough points on the board.
I feel like they're more like Burnley. I think
maybe
Luton were a bit hard-nosed. I feel like Burnley, I hear you, but Company went on and got the buying job. I don't know if Russell Martin's going to be getting maybe is he going to be the next Man City manager?
You never know. The Real Madrid job is coming up soon. Let's move on to Brentford against Newcastle. 4-2 to Brentford on the day. Sim went for 2-2. I went for 3-2. So close to that bloody 5-pointer. I was on the right wavelength though. I thought Brentford at home, they're just incredible, aren't they? Score a bucket load of goals, and they obviously let in a bucket load of goals as well. But Brian Mbeumo was on top form in this game. Johan Wissa and Sade even comes off the bench and carries on his goal scoring form. In a really comprehensive. I mean, it was just a game of tennis, really. It was like up and down and up and down and up and down. How Brentford games have seeming to be this season, but they always seem to finish out on top at the G-Tech.
Yeah, I think Newcastle first half, as you say, giving as good as they got, scored a couple of really good goals. Isaac and Barnes, and probably were on top in that first half, and maybe. Brentford a bit lucky to be level in going into half time, but second half they kind of took the game away from Newcastle. Such poor defending for that third goal. Nathan Collins coming in from the free kick, just prodding it past Pope. It was a poor defending from Newcastle. They sealed it late with Sade, but Wissa and Mbeumo yet again, brilliant goal from Mbeumo, by the way, cutting inside, firing it into the near post, top corner as well. Wissa running in behind him, finishing it just as he always seems to do this season. 9th goal of the season for him. And that was up 15 goals. It's 16 goals between Wissa and Mbeumo now. 9 for Wissa and 8 for Mbeumo. 17 goals, that is, sorry. So, I mean, they haven't missed Tony one bit, have they? And as you say, if you want goals, go to the G-Tech Stadium, because that's where all the goals have been this season. And unbelievable for Bournemouth. 7 wins in 8 home games and 1 draw as well. So they're looking formidable at home. 26 goals in that time as well. There's been 40 goals in 8 games at the G-Tech this season. So... Saturday 3 p.m. I think I know where I'll be watching next time. I think.
Yeah, I mean it's a blockbuster every single time, and they're sitting top of the league in terms of the home record. So unbelievable from Brentford.
Well.
Yeah, unbelievable work that Thomas Frank is doing. You tipped them to fight relegation at the beginning of the season. I thought it was always going to be a mid-table with the likes of Mbeumo and Wissa, but look, they're going great at the moment. It's just like they can't buy a win away from home.
Thinking of all the teams that have improved, and the fact that Brentford lose Tony and they're still in the top half is unbelievable from Thomas Frank.
They played majority of the season last year without Tony as well, and you know what? A lot of their performances last year where they were dropping points, they deserved more out of.
Yeah, he's doing a phenomenal job. Fair play to Thomas Frank. He's, I think if they finished a top half or even get close to Europe, he could be on for manager of the season, I think.
Yeah, if he keeps going, I mean, if they finish the season as the best home form in the home side in the league, when you've got a league of Man City, Liverpool, the Arsenals and Chelsea's and everything like that, what an unbelievable job.
If they finish above 10th, anywhere above 10th, I think he's a shout for manager of the season.
Interesting. Let's move on to Crystal Palace against Manchester City. It finished 2-2 at Selhurst Park. Both of us went for 1-1. So we got the draw right, so a point each, but we just missed out on 2 goals, a goal apiece. And you know what? They go 1-0 up with a really good goal from Munoz, wasn't it? What a pass from Will Hughes. So where did that come from? Around the back to find Munoz. Erling Haaland responds after half an hour. Lacroix gets a goal early in the second half, and then Rico Lewis, a bit of a moment of madness for Rico Lewis, as on the 68th minute he scores with a really nice finish. 70th minute he gets booked, and the 84th minute he gets sent off. What did you think of that sending off?
Yeah, I think maybe it was harsh. I think second yellow for that. I think people argue he was the one who'd been fouled. So I think referee probably got it wrong. Maybe it was just a foul and you leave it at that. I don't know if he needed a yellow. Pep seemed to lose his mind over it. I don't know if you saw that post-match interview.
No, I didn't see the interview.
He said he was being really weird. The interview asked him why was Rico Lewis sent off, and Pep goes, because it was Rico Lewis. And the interviewer, what do you mean? He goes, because it's Rico Lewis. And he goes, do you mean if the referee targeted Rico Lewis? And he goes, no, it was a yellow card. And then the interviewer goes, so why was it a yellow card? He goes, because it's Rico Lewis. And the interviewer's like, okay, I don't really know what you're on about. It was very, very strange from Pep. Maybe he's losing his mind a bit, but I think we've seen that already over the last few weeks. Obviously not a good result for Man City after getting back to winning ways against Forest, coming up against a draw, which shows again their form, I think, is going to be inconsistent up until January at least. And if they can address those issues in January, I think they will be inconsistent. They've still got quality, and I think they showed that in this game as well. At 2-2, it looked like, in the second half, I thought Man City were well on top, and then Lacroix gets that goal against a player, I thought, from a corner, pegged them back a bit. They did get that goal, and maybe they would have gone on to win it if it wasn't for the Rico Lewis red card. Didn't happen. Obviously, he got sent off, and didn't see Palace winning it late on, but as well, I think City didn't really look like winning it either. So I thought probably a draw, fair result. I thought Palace were probably a bit the better team in the first half, but second half, it looked like City were going to go on to win it. But look, Palace stepping up. And to be fair, I think Palace is one loss in their last, 7 games. So definitely in terms of stemming the tide.
Not winning much, though.
Not winning.
1
wins. They got 2 wins this whole season, but getting some draws on the board, and that's meant they're 4 points clear of the drop zone at the moment in 17. So draws at the bottom definitely helping them out.
I want to talk about that Erling Haaland goal, because I thought it was a cross of the highest degree from Matthias Nunes. And whatever you want to say about him, I think he's performing really well out on the wing there for City.
He's done all right. I think he's just filling in a job. I don't think he's been exceptional, but
I think he's been really good.
I think he's been all right. Like, I don't think it shows like anything like where I think he can be a long-term option for him there. I think
but for decent. A natural centre mid, what he's doing out there, I think it's brilliant.
I think he's doing a job. He's filling in a position where they're clearly lacking in numbers, and they need someone to just come in there and provide, and he's doing that, and fair play to him. I still don't think he's a long-term solution there.
Let's go to Old Trafford. It finished Manchester United 2, Nottingham Forest 3. I went for 2-2, Sim went for 2-1. And I think it was, it was never 2-2, was it? Because Forest went 3-1 up, and then Bruno Fernandes got a goal back. I actually feel like Man United did all right in this game. I thought they performed better than the result suggests. But the goals that they conceded, they can't be conceding those kind of goals.
It's just terrible defending all round. I have to say, the first goal caught out the front post with a header from Milenkovic. He didn't get back in the game for Højlund, but what is Onana doing for that second goal? What is he doing? It's straight down his throat. I don't understand how he doesn't save that.
You know what, with Onana, like, he's a bit of a figure of fun for the mistakes he's made, particularly last season. I feel like he's been one of the better keepers in the Premier League this season.
He has, but he made a howler there.
Yeah.
Absolute howler. I know the ball's swerving a bit, but...
He's had a really good season, though, hasn't he?
He has. Don't get me wrong, he's had a good season, but in that situation, It's inexcusable. He actually also, it wasn't as if there was like bodies in front of him or anything. If you watch it back, he had a clear sight of it. And he just allows it to. There's no deflection. It's just a bit of swerve on the shot, and he just allows it to go through him straight down his throat. I thought it was a ridiculous howler from Onana. I also think Martinez should be clearing that off the line for the third goal. It's a good header, don't get me wrong, but not much power in it. I think yes, he's been blocked by a few players, but I think Martinez should be definitely clearing that off the line. I know it goes in off the post, but I think that's poor from defending from him. They then get back in the game from Fernandes, but I have to say they lacked any sort of threat in the last half an hour. It didn't really look like scoring more than a goal. Forest defended very well. Back up to fifth now after a bit of a stumble. Brilliant win for them. They're hot on the heels of Man City in fourth. How many points behind? They're 2 points behind City in fourth. So unbelievable from Nottingham Forest. Continue to go from strength to strength in terms of just plugging away with results. Man United obviously is a work in progress. It's a poor I would say okay performance, but poor defeat in general for Amorim. But he's still figuring things out. But yeah, defensively was a bit all over the shop, to be honest.
Let's go on to Craven Cottage. Fulham 1, Arsenal 1. Sim went for 2-1 to Arsenal. I went for 1-1. And there was that pivotal moment right at the end of the game that hinged 5 points to either me or Sim. We were watching it at the Tottenham Stadium. Sim didn't know whether to laugh or cry when Bukayo Saka put it in the back of the net.
I was laughing. Don't trust me, I was laughing.
But yeah, offside, obviously, which resulted in the game 1-1. I mean, Raul Jimenez puts Fulham ahead 10 minutes in, which was a goal massively against a run of play.
Great finish, though.
It was a great finish. But Arsenal pretty much had the whole play in Fulham's half for pretty much the whole game without causing too many problems, I would say. I mean, Fulham defended really well. They sat deep, compact. They did a number on Arsenal throughout the game. They got a goal from a set piece.
Classic.
Like they do with William Saliba. And Fulham looked, a kind of a threat on the counter-attack, but it was very rare for Fulham to get into Arsenal's half.
Yeah, I think it was a classic case of, it's pretty much how I saw it. I think Arsenal actually really struggled in open play, but as soon as they got a corner, they were a massive threat. I think about 70% of their XG came from set plays, came from corners, and obviously what came from the goal. And they did have a few headed chances as well, which they'll be a bit annoyed they didn't do better with. But they are, at the moment anyway, very, very reliant on those set pieces. And I think that was another example of it. Even with Odegaard on the pitch, they really struggled to open up a Fulham side who are always very well organised. Marco Silva has got them very tactically aware. And I think they made it very difficult for Arsenal. And Arsenal really struggled to create clear-cut opportunities apart from set pieces. But with that weapon they do have, they're always likely to get back in the game. And obviously they got a goal. And then they had the winner right at the end, and it looked like they'd won the game, but sliver of offside from Martinelli in the build-up meant the goal got chalked off and massively frustrating. Arteta will feel like they deserved the win. Look, Fulham did rarely threaten throughout the game, but when you're that reliant on set pieces and the corners, not every corner's going in, you have to be more of a threat from open play for me, Arsenal, and they suffered for that. And big opportunity for them this weekend with Liverpool not playing to close the gap to 4 points and put a bit of pressure on our Liverpool. They didn't do it, and they drew, which means the gap is now 6 points and Liverpool have a game in hand. So all of a sudden, it's not looking great again on the face of it for them.
Yeah, I think Arsenal would have definitely expected 3 points from this game, particularly as it seemed as though they had turned a corner with the performances against Nottingham Forest, with the performance against West Ham and Sporting Lisbon, scoring so many goals. And then they come up against a very good Fulham side, don't get me wrong, but with the way the league's going, and they just need to make up those points on Liverpool by hook or by crook, and they failed to do that this weekend. Let's move on to Ipswich against Bournemouth. Finished 2-1 to Bournemouth. It was the late show for Bournemouth in this game. Sim went for 2-0. I went for 2-1 to Ipswich. I was very close to getting a point here, but how many times are we going to sit here and talk about Ipswich in this manner where they're going in ahead or looking like they're going to get a point in the last stages of the game and then they concede late on? But this time it was 2 goals in the last few minutes. Otara having a massive part to play in it. And it's gutting for Ipswich because they thought they were on their way to 3 points and they end up with 0.
Yeah, I felt for them because I thought in general they defended quite well during the game. I think they did give, after taking an early lead through Chaplin, really nice goal, they did let Bournemouth have one chance. I think it was Cliver who hit the post in the first half after a mix-up at the back. But after that, I thought Ipswich defended pretty well, and it looked like in that second half they were going to see it out. But for me, it was a catalogue of errors, allowing Utara to get in behind. I don't know what Muric is doing. Why is he coming out in that situation? Utara is like in the corner of the box. Like, he's not going to score from there. Muric was never getting there. So I think it's a massive brain fart for Muric to come out and allow Unal with the open goal. And then Bournemouth piled on the pressure in stoppage time. Utara smashes it home, and all of a sudden Bournemouth take the 3 points and snatch it away from Ipswich, who are obviously desperate for the points right now. So feel for them. They probably felt like they were worth something in the game, but they end up with nothing, and now they're 4 points behind. So they're slipping further and further away from safety. Are they good enough to claw get some points and win some more games? I'm seeing enough to suggest that they can win some games, but 15 games in, there's only one win. So at the end of the day, as long as they keep losing games in this manner, you know, they might start running out of time soon.
Yeah, very true. And you know, they have shown a bit of signs that they can play some football, but they haven't shown any signs they can get any results. I mean, was it one win this season against Tottenham, and that's it? Classic Tottenham, innit? But let's move on to the King Power. Leicester 2, Brighton 2. Both of us went for 2-1 to Brighton. And when Jamie Vardy scored in the 86th minute, probably thinks we're on to 5 pointers there. But Bobby Reid in the 91st minute equalising for Leicester. And good start to life for Ruud van Nistelrooy for Leicester. A win in his first game. A draw here, coming from 2-0 behind with 4 minutes to go. You know, Lamptey goes 1-0 up just before half time.
What a goal.
Yeah, brilliant goal. And he's really arriving into the season now as well, Tyreek Lamptey. And Minteg, they go 2-0 up with 10 minutes to go, and you're thinking, wow, this is easy 3 points for Brighton. But
the BBC
Leicester
commentator said when Minteg scored, sealed the win for Brighton. That's how he described the goal.
And it was anything but that.
Yeah, and that's how it looked like. But Leicester didn't really look too much in this game, to be honest. Brighton dominated. They got their moments of quality, and it would look like it was going to be a easy win for Brighton, but they get a late consolation, looked like, through Jamie Vardy, and they didn't let that affect them. They kept going to the last minute. Vardy gets in behind again, squares it to Bobby Reid, and they get a last-minute equaliser. What a result for Ruud, who continues his 23-game unbeaten run incredibly among 3 different clubs. And are they getting that kind of new manager luck you sometimes get?
Definitely.
It seems as though, because I think against West Ham they got a hell of a lot of luck, and this one they were 2-0 down, and they turned it around in the last few minutes. So I think, as much as it'll be exciting and Leicester fans will be delighted, I wouldn't look at those 2 performances and think they completely turned the corner yet, because I still think they were lucky to be getting 4 points out of those last 2 games. But brilliant start for Ruud van Nistelrooy, and something to build on at least.
But you know, if Leicester ride this wave now and start picking up a few points, that could be the difference of them staying up or going down.
For sure. And they're now 5 points clear of the relegation zone. So as long as the gap is like that kind of size, I think they'll be happy.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium with Tottenham 3, Chelsea 4. Sim went for 3-2. I went for 3-1, both in Chelsea's favour, so we both gained a point for this one. Spurs just started off at a million miles an hour, didn't we? Going 2-0 up within 10 minutes. Jadon Sancho pulls one back before half-time, and then you're thinking, oh, here we go. And here we go indeed, because it was a catalogue of errors from Spurs at the back to hand Chelsea their win. Don't get me wrong, Chelsea were definitely the better side from the last stage of the first half to the second half, but you can't account for those errors that Spurs did. The 2 penalties were an absolute disgrace, and some of the defending on show for the goals that we conceded that weren't penalties were a disgrace as well. So really hard one to take, this one.
Yeah, as you say, 2-0 up, starting like a house on fire, and you're thinking, wow, maybe Tottenham have really are going to show a reaction to their recent form in it. And 2 brilliant finishes from Solanke and Kulusevski, and you're thinking, right, they look on it today. They then obviously lose Romero, who obviously unexpectedly started alongside Van de Ven. Brilliant goal from Sancho to get Chelsea back in the game just for half time. I thought that first half was a bit of a basketball game. They had chances, we had chances. We could have extended their lead. They could have got back in the game. And one thing you definitely knew going to that second half, that there definitely was more goals in this game, and so it proved. And as you say, Chelsea took control in that second half, but it did take a monumental screw up from Basuma, a head loss moment from him, given the ball away in the middle and then trying to make up for it with a terrible challenge inside the box from Caicedo. And it was a head loss moment from Basuma, no other way to describe it. 2-2. And then big moment for Spurs at 2-2. Son goes through on goal, 1-on-1. You're thinking, is he going to bury this and put Spurs back in the lead? He puts it uncharacteristically wide, and Chelsea a few minutes later go on and go 3-2 up with a goal from which was, again, catalogue of errors from Tottenham. They had a lot of chances to clear the ball and get challenges in. They missed about 3 or 4 of them in the build up to the play, and then Enzo finds himself free at the back post with a nice volleyed finish, and all of a sudden Chelsea have turned it around. Brilliant comeback from them. And then another head loss moment from Saha to give a penalty away to make it 4-2, and Palmer pissing off the whole Tottenham fan base with a Panenka as well. Tottenham had a late rally. Son had a 1-on-1 with missing the chance, and then makes it 4-3. And you're thinking, is there any chance of some real late comeback? But unfortunately, too little too late for Tottenham. And that's another defeat for them, and piling on the pressure on Ange at the moment.
Yeah, well, what a shitbag Cole Palmer is, that penalty, that last second penalty. Panenkins it into the middle of the goal. I guess it's probably with the amount of paper that was being thrown from the Tifo at Cole Palmer from every corner or every opportunity.
The big question after this game, obviously from Tottenham point of view, Ange under pressure, and a lot of probably Tottenham fans want him to be sacked and all that kind of stuff, but also from Chelsea's point of view, are Chelsea now in a title race? That's the big question.
At this moment in time,
they're Chelsea, they're Liverpool's closest challengers.
Yeah, 4 points with Liverpool having a game in hand. So at this moment in time, if there is a title race to talk about, then they are bang in the thick of it. But
I think when the gap is 4 points, there is a bit of a race.
Yeah, but I would say like title races, in my opinion, I don't think there's really talk of a title race until probably February, March time, though.
At this moment, look, Chelsea clearly showing their credentials with a comeback win. I still think defensively, they got caught out a few times, even on the weekend, but
they score so many.
That's the thing. They're the top goal scorers now in the league with 35. The firepower they have is ridiculous, and they can chop and change whoever they want in that forward line and still have unbelievable quality. So, if they're going to win this title, it's going to be about scoring as many goals as possible, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, you cast your mind back, I think a year ago now, or maybe more than a year ago, when Ten Hag banishes Jadon Sancho from the squad. Mm-hmm. Ten Hag now has lost his job, and Jadon Sancho's in a potential title race.
And he's balling out. Brilliant performance, I thought. And I think he's having a really good season, maybe starting to prove doubts wrong. I think he has to keep it up, because if he has an inconsistent end, people will still say, well, they're still not sure about him. But I think at the moment, he's had a good start to the season, and he's going in a really good way. And goals like that show the quality he has. A brilliant goal.
Yeah. West Ham Wolves in the last game, which was Monday Night Football, which was dubbed the El Sacico. It didn't really turn out that way as of yet, but West Ham did win the game by 2-1. Sim went for 3-0 to West Ham. I went for 1-0 to Wolves. So Sim gains a point for this one. Massive 3 points for West Ham. And as well on the back of the Mikel Antonio story as well, involved in a horrific car accident. I mean, they're saying he's got a broken leg and he might not play again. I mean, it's just horrific. So obviously our thoughts go out to him, and hopefully he can make a speedy recovery. But yeah, big 3 points for West Ham. Hard one to take for Wolves. I thought it was a really boring game, to be fair.
Yeah, I didn't think either side were very good. I didn't think West Ham were particularly good. If anything, I thought Wolves probably deserved more out of that game. They should have had a couple of penalties, I thought. But what was the big difference was the quality from Jarrod Bowen.
Yeah.
What a goal he scored late in the game to win it for West Ham in what seemed to be it was a bit deadlock after Souček scored the opener, and Matt Doherty with a really nice equaliser.
Matt Doherty, where'd that come from?
Yeah, lovely equaliser coming into the box. That's the kind of goal he used to score a few years ago before he joined Tottenham, even at times at Tottenham as well. So lovely moment for him. But Bowen showing why he's one of the best wingers in the league with that moment, and cutting inside. I think it was Guedes, and brilliant finish into the far corner. There's not too many players in this league who are capable of that quality at big moments, and he's one of them. And it was a brilliant goal, and a big win for Lopetegui. I still don't think that win will convince fans that he's the right guy, because the manner of the win was still very unconvincing, I should say, and it wasn't, and they could have easily dropped points. But again, it'll probably just keep the Wolves from the doors for now.
No pun intended.
Exactly.
But they're sitting in 14th right now with 18 points, only 2 points behind Tottenham.
Yeah.
Which is madness when you hear the narrative around West Ham fans. Yeah, I know things aren't going well at Tottenham at the moment, but still, like if you were to compare the two clubs right now, you would think Tottenham are miles ahead, but it's only 2 points.
2 points, and they've picked up enough wins along the way, and maybe that proves that Lopetegui does need more time as well, albeit the wins, apart from the Newcastle one, all of them have not been great wins, but they've been getting over the line. And as well, he's also had to, take over from Moyes, a bunch of new signings, and maybe West Ham fans have been a bit impatient with him as well. But to say, look, 14th obviously isn't a great position, and they do need to climb the table, especially with the talent they have. But the win, hopefully, from West Ham's point of view, will be something to build on for them.
Yeah. 4 points away from Everton in one spot below them, so they do have a tiny bit of a buffer in this moment in time.
But any sort of relegation fight, they're now 9 points clear. So.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be in a relegation fight. But let's go to the star men. Sim went for Morgan Rogers, 0 goals, 0 assists. He did have like 3 or 4 shots in the game, but nothing came of it. FPL actually did give him an assist, but then took it away very soon after that.
Yeah, I don't see why they gave it to him in the first place, to be honest.
Yeah, neither do I. But I went for Johan Wissa at home to Newcastle, and he got a goal. I expected a bit more with Brentford scoring 4 goals. I expected a bit more, but I'll take the 5 points in this moment in time. So the gap has widened once again. 139 points to Sim, 148 points to myself. We'll be back on Thursday for another round of Predict the Prem, where the action all starts again for game week 16. But thank you everyone for joining us today. We'll see you next time.